And there we go. We have a Protoss versus Protoss on merry-go-round, starting in the top right position. It is from team RUZ3. I'm not sure if that's the official pronunciation, but in any case, it is Nano.
Right, and in the 6 o'clock position, it is playing in the red colors, Rbvh from ARMS. And I think, as far as the team of Nano is concerned, I like the pronunciation RUZ. I have no idea if
RUZ,
that's the correct...
I suppose that works, yes.
No idea if that's the correct pronunciation, but RUZ, I like it.
Yes, let's go for that.
Alrighty. Okay, PvP. Yeah, we've seen a lot of PvP in the previous qualifier. And we've seen some funky stuff, but not a lot. Most players in the qualifier are playing very... well, I would say safe. Not a lot of cheeses going on.
That's a shame, because PvP is an excellent matchup for funky stuff.
Definitely, yeah. And seeing as how this is a best of 3, I don't know. Some of these players, one of these players may decide to say, hey, well, I can risk one game maybe against this opponent. Let's see how he reacts to cheese. Of course, throwing a cheese is a risk, because you can lose. But there's, in any case, there's always something you win by doing cheese. Because if you win or lose the cheese, your opponent is now geared towards or very nervous about your style of play, and in the next game he or she will probably he or she is unfortunately that's not a possibility. There's no she's in this tournament, unfortunately, but he will be playing more cautious, investing more time and therefore money into scouting. And we see actually in Nano scouting, well, I was going to say relatively early, but that's not true. It's after Gateway, so that's I think that's a decent sky timing. And we see Rbvh not scouting, and that's something that Bellinor told me. He says that in PvP we see more and more that people are not scouting, and as I say that, Rbvh is sending out a scout.
Well, is he scouting? Because he's going to just build a pylon and then waiting there. So, yeah, but I mean, if you play a build that is generally safe against most things that your opponent could throw at you, then you do save a lot of minerals by not scouting with your probe. It is like 40 minerals per minute that you lose by not mining, and if you have to do a full scout, then it's typically several minutes that your probe is away if it survives, because there's always a risk of it dying, and that's quite a bit of minerals.
Definitely, yeah.
We see a Stargate coming up for Rbvh in his natural. So this is a little bit funky, but not that much, because it's a logical spot to scout. But Nano doesn't really check the natural that much. I guess his path went just close enough to the place where the nexus would be to see if there would be a quick nexus or anything. But
it's pretty funky.
Nano is checking, or at least going to the base above the natural.
But his probe will get killed because there's a stalker patrolling there. Do you think that Rbvh took a risk in putting a Stargate there? Because it's very close to Nano's base in terms of air positioning. But of course, he didn't know that Nano would be up there, so it might have been a bit of a risk. But you know, it's hidden in any case. It's not hidden, but you know, it wasn't scouted. So there we go.
It's not that forward that it would really that you really gain advantage from the travel distance, but I think he just wanted to hide it in a way that it was not immediately obvious. But if the game continues on longer, it's not lost, because if you put it somewhere completely random, eventually it will get scouted and you will lose it. Well, if you put it in your natural, then if the game goes on longer, you will keep your natural and hopefully defend it. But there's a stalker coming in.
Yeah, a 3 stalker push from Nano, actually. I like doing this myself. Make 3 stalkers really quickly using chrono boost. And these stalkers are going to be all the way on this side of the map, while the Phoenix is going to go to the other side. But is there any kind of defense? Of course, there's the photon overcharge, but that's going to be...
There we go. Photon overcharge has been activated.
But is it going to be enough? Are the Phoenixes maybe... Yeah, Phoenixes are being used in defense. Of course, this means that the surprise element is now gone. Nano realizes what he's up against and decides to retreat his stalkers. Why would he do that?
I'm not so sure. With only 3 Phoenixes, there's not that much that Rbvh could do, and Photon Overcharge will wear off eventually. Currently, Warp Gate research is not yet done for Rbvh, so I think Nano could have done a little bit more damage, or at least keep the Phoenixes home, because now the Phoenixes can roam freely. They see this pylon for Nano. Surprised they don't pick up the probe, just get a free kill. But
yep. No, that was my point exactly. I mean, fighting... I mean, if you got stalkers, they're going to be fighting the Phoenixes anyway, but if they're fighting them inside your opponent's base, then you don't have your probes to worry about. And now, of course, the Phoenixes are free to move over to your base, Nano's base in this case. But Nano has his mineral line all filled up with Stalkers by now, so I don't think these Phoenix... Well, they could still pick off probes. I mean, Stalkers don't get through the Phoenix shields that fast, so they could still pick up some probes.
Or they could try to take some shots at the mothership core.
Also true.
Get that one down, that's also very nice. We do see that Nano is expanding and getting a Twilight Council, while Rbvh is going for a Robo and also an expansion, but a little bit later himself.
Okay, here we go. Again, Phoenix is flying into a base, meeting Stalkers. Oh, and indeed shooting Mothership Core, doing some damage, but in return losing all of his shields and some hit points on these Phoenixes.
He did trigger a Photon Overcharge, and here's two random Stalkers for Rbvh. Ooh, that was close.
Run away.
I'm not sure what they were doing there, but I don't think that was very intentional.
Okay, very good that Rbvh noticed them before they died. Okay, so in the meanwhile, we see that Nano has produced an observer and is scouting around with it. Let's see, does Rbvh also? Yes, both players have an observer. Just finished actually for Rbvh, sending it out now. It's always important to keep an eye on your opponent, because Starcraft, it has been said very often, but information, of course, is a third very important resource in Starcraft, or vision, I could say.
Phoenix is coming in again. They're picking up one probe and they're retreating. They didn't lose any health there, just shields, so that's something they can keep doing for a while. Yep. In the meantime, Rbvh is picking off this pylon that he saw Nano create a while ago, so that forward position will be gone for Nano.
Okay, so Twilight Council now also coming up for Rbvh, whereas Nano is already working on his Zealot speed. He made a lot of Stalkers. Did he also research Blink? Let's check that out. No, he did not.
No, he
so
didn't.
So he's going into Charge. You think he's gonna, build Archons with that as well? He's working on upgrades, do double forges. What do you think his long-term plan is? I'm
not sure.
Right.
I'm not sure if he even has Zealots. No, he has 0 Zealots and he's researching Zealot Charge. Yeah, so I'm not entirely certain what he's going to do.
No. He's building cannons as well, so he's kind of sticking maybe to 2 base for a while, but I'm not sure. So he's okay. That's the first Zealot. So he's 1 Zealot.
Excellent. You will have 1 very fast Zealot.
Exactly. You will have all the speediness of what 10 Zealots usually would have. So that's like an ultra fast Zealot.
We see Nano also getting some Immortals out, and Rbvh also has his first Immortal, second one just walking down the ramp.
I'm very curious about this Zealot speed upgrade, coupled with the 1-1. Do you think he's going to be...
There's a Templar Archives is coming up now for Nano, so maybe he will do some Zealot Archon, but Zealot Archon does mean you attack with more than a Zealot and an Archon, I think. Unless the meta has changed recently and I didn't pick up.
I think you're quite right. I think that maybe Nano thinks, well, my opponent has seen only Stalkers, so he probably won't be expecting Zealot Archon. So how about I go into Zealot Archon and then delays the building of these Zealots and Archons?
He is getting 6 gateways, so he will be able to push out a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. And
Rbvh is running around scouting this base. Will he? Yeah, eventually I think he will scout the warping in the extra Stargates. We're all finishing up now. Gateways, sorry, not Stargates. Oh, and some Phoenixes throwing their lives away. Unfortunately.
They did get a good scout of this push coming out. He again just sees the Stalkers and the 1 Immortal. So he's not expecting Archons or Zealot Charge, I think. But the Phoenix just flew over the Morphing Archons and the 2 Zealots by now.
Yeah, 2 Zealots. Right, so yeah, he might still not be expecting the Zealots, but I think yes, the Archon's definitely expected now. This, of course, tells Rbvh that force fields at the top of his ramp will lose some of their effectiveness, of course, because Archons are massive units and they trample force fields. So they are not harmed by them. Here we go. Phoenix still on the lookout, now sees the push approaching the ramp at the natural. Let us just see what unfolds. Ooh, lets him walk up the ramp. Photon overcharge already triggered. Ooh, this is a very tough position for Rbvh.
Nice force fields for Nano, locking out those Immortals, but he does retreat as shields on one of his Archons got low. It doesn't want to lose it just yet, I think.
But but he had Rbvh in a very, very crappy position for Rbvh, in a choky point where he couldn't do much, and he didn't have any massive units to trample the force fields. So I feel maybe that Nano could have done a bit more damage there. And now he's released the high ground once again. So now he has to walk up the high ground while Rbvh is camping there, so to say, with a lot of Immortals actually.
Yeah, but the Immortals are not going to do that much against Zealot Archon. Currently we have running up to 19 Zealots, and there's also 4 Archons, and the Immortals, they like the Stalkers, but there's just 5 of them.
Definitely.
And after that, I mean, they're still good, but they're not amazing anymore.
Wow, and Rbvh is trying to position his army. Here comes the push, they're up the ramp, there we go, zoom in on that. Lots of damage going down here.
Oh, some of the Zealots are getting stuck behind the Archons as they move in, but they're still doing quite a bit of damage. Force fields blocking out the Zealots. The Archons should move forward to crush them, but they're not doing that.
I think Nano's getting the upper hand in this. Yes, definitely, he is.
I think so too. As some reinforcement Zealots coming in. There's not that much more left from Rbvh. Zealots are going to work on the last Archons.
Oh yeah, these are Archons for Rbvh. Rbvh might still push this back with the reinforcement Zealots, but no, there's also more Zealots coming in. The Photon Overcharge is doing a lot of damage during all of this.
It's going to run out soon, though.
Yeah. Okay, this is tooth and nail. Tooth and nail. The supply counts, army supplies are down to 28 and 11 and falling.
Some Zealots are making their way into the mineral line, so the money stream will slow down for Rbvh.
Yep, he has sacrificed some Zealots to do economy damage, which I feel is a good call. Yes, and I think this Photo Overcharge run out, so I think these are the death throbs of Rbvh.
And GG. Nano takes game number 1.
Game number 1 goes to Nano. So this means the next one is going to be match point for our Protoss player. They're both Protoss, of course. Let me check. Put that off. Alright. Good times casting Starcraft.
So in the end, it did turn out to be Zealot Archon, just delayed to the last minute. Which I think was actually a good idea, because we saw that Rbvh had a ton of Immortals, anticipating the Stalkers, but there were never that many, and that's why he didn't really have the army composition to deal with the push, I think.
Alright. We're waiting for the next lobby. In the meanwhile, I can take the time to thank Chris Mono for following us on Twitch. Do follow us if you want to stay up to date, and also go to Facebook and Twitter. You can find all our accounts right below our heads right now. Dutch Starcraft League on Facebook, DSCL League on Twitter, and of course DSCL League on YouTube as well. And YouTube is where we upload all the VODs. So all the games that we're streaming right now will be cut up into different sections and uploaded to YouTube. So if you missed any, you can rewatch it. And of course, DSCL Bootcamp itself, the educational high point of the StarCraft year, will also be cut up into VODs and uploaded. Imagine we're going to upload it per theme. So we have different themes. I think we're going to upload the VODs into different sections depending on the theme that is being discussed. So we'll have an hour on scouting and an hour on build orders. And definitely check it out, because I think everybody can learn a lot.
Because it won't just be about the games that are being played, it's also about all the analysis and the discussion and the question and answers that will be taking place between the games, where you can really learn.
Definitely. So this is not just going to be Grubby and Yona discussing a specific game, just like you said. They're going to be talking, in general terms about what they think is very important about the topic that we're discussing. So maybe sharing some of their wisdom, thinking. Sharing with us what they do in certain circumstances. So it's definitely going to be, educational. Okay, we're into the lobby of the next game, but it's currently set to 2v2. I'm not sure if that's an interesting format where the casters join one of the players. Oh man, that was actually in Brood War. I think in Brood War we didn't really have an observer interface, so it's StarCraft 1. So if you wanted to be observing, you had to be in the game as well as a player. Is that right, Gideon? I think.
I never really did the Brood War multiplayer that much, so I don't know. But it wouldn't surprise me if there are lots of quirky things that had to be done to get it out in the right way. Because StarCraft 1 and Brood War, they were never meant to be esports. They were just that good that people started using them for that. But that does mean that the interface and many of the things related to it, the developers never really thought about how to make that useful for esports. And that you can see that with Starcraft 2 now. There are many observer features that, for just playing the game you don't really need, but to make it into something that other people can watch, that they are very useful, especially now that Blizzard is working together with the GameHeart developer to make cool observer roleplays.
That's really nice. And we're into game number 2, and in the top left corner of Deadwing, I don't think I've seen this map very often. Top left corner of Deadwing, 4-player map. We have Rbvh, Protoss player, currently down 1 game. He has to win this game and the next if he wants to advance to the round of 4 actually already. Yes, this is already quarterfinals. Going pretty fast today.
Yep. His opponent currently up 1-0, so just 1 game away from moving on to the semifinals.
Yes.
Is the yellow Protoss player RUZ Nano.
Yeah, RUZ. Let's see. They have a very fancy foxy logo. Let's try and zoom in on that. So it's a decal, I believe it's called. Very nice. Yeah. Oh. Let's check out. It's okay. No decal for Rbvh.
I wish I had such an awesome logo flying next to my.
There's actually some people, including Wijman, who have like a grubby face decal.
I have the DSCL logo, of course.
Nice, smooth.
Yeah.
That's the best logo.
If we look at what's happening, actually not so much, because both players are doing pretty much the same builds. We see Nano scouting earlier than Rbvh again. So in that sense, it's pretty much a mirror of what we saw last game.
Yep, and we see exactly the same builds. A slight advantage for Rbvh now, because of course he's not scouting, so he has slightly more minerals. We see that now in that one of his probes is building just before Nano's probe is building. But it's a very small difference indeed, and Nano now has the advantage of knowing that his opponent is not doing anything cheesy or funky. He does see a probe leave. Is that probe once again going to be building a Stargate, or is he going to be scouting this time?
It's going to a different location, so it's not going to build something in the natural again. I think it's just going to scout.
Yeah. Oh, and he's scouting the wrong way. Yeah.
Well, there's a 30% chance of getting it right in the first go, so that's not so.
Well, it's not
surprising.
It's not a bad move, but it's the wrong way.
Yeah. Well, in
Course.
general, it also depends on what. Oh, he didn't. He only scouted up the ramp of the natural, or the third even there, and then he decides, well, this is never going to be the place where he's coming from. And
why
then
would he decide that?
I'm not sure.
Is there something we don't know about this map and its spawning positions?
Yeah, but if there was, then why would he go there in the first place? Unless he realized later that there was some. I don't think so.
Huh.
So, regarding scouting in the wrong way, it depends also on what you're scouting. If you're scouting some sort of early push, then the most dangerous position is from the closest one. And if you scout there first, then even if you may not scout the base on the first attempt, you can still exclude the fact that exclude the option that he will be very close to you doing such a threatening thing. And if the distance is larger, you have more time to get your stuff up and running. So just the reassurance that he's not in the closest position means that some of the things he could throw at you are already less dangerous.
True, and I'm puzzled by. So Rbvh has not forgotten about his probe, right? He's selecting it, and he has scouted part of the way to the top right base, and he's scouted the bottom right base as well. But he hasn't scouted far enough to confirm actually whether there's a nexus there. So although he can maybe say, well, it's not very likely because there might have been a building there, he hasn't scouted far enough to actually confirm there being a nexus or not.
Yeah, it's a bit strange.
Yeah. So I'm not
sure. So in both
sure.
cases he went roughly to the same position, and here he's just sitting.
Yeah.
So
he has no idea where his opponent is.
I hope he doesn't draw any wrong conclusions from this and suddenly show up with a big army in the bottom right and find that there is nothing. That's always.
Have you seen these games where a player cannon rushes the wrong base?
Yeah.
Those always. Man, I imagine just feeling this, putting that last cannon there in range of the nexus, and there's no nexus. Like what?
Yeah.
Oh man.
It must also be weird if you're the player getting cannon rushed, and then you have no idea what's going on, and then you watch the replay later, and they're like,
yeah, you scout his base, and you're like, shit, none of his pylons are here, I'm being cannon rushed, and you scout all around your base, and like, there's no cannons here, there's no pylons, what the hell is he doing? Oh, man.
In the meantime, we see that Nano did make a Stargate, he's getting some Phoenixes, he's moving out with 2 Stalkers. But
look at this! These Stalkers could have seen, yeah, they saw the hallucinated Oracle there. Do you think he... Well, no, he can't be expecting that to be a real Oracle, can he? Because he scouted the base, he didn't see a Stargate.
I'm not sure, he is moving around with his Phoenixes a bit, so he is trying to intercept it. And... yeah, well, he's going to get it very quickly.
Oh, and he did... Yeah, he realized it was a hallucination, right?
He could have realized it by the way it died so quickly.
Yeah.
But the Oracle never really came above one of the mineral lines, so it was never in a position to fire if it would have been a real one.
True. And we see, the observer for Rbvh scouted the Phoenixes coming in, and he plops down a cannon. Also has a couple of Stalkers there, but he can still get a significant amount of probes. Oh, 2. That's 2.
And there's Stalkers ready at the front of the natural. Probably the idea was to push in together with the Phoenixes in the main. The Stalkers were a bit delayed.
Wow! Instant reaction with the photon overcharge there.
Very smooth. They're not Stalkers not getting anything done. One Stalker loses all of his shields but no health, so no harm done there.
All right, guys, take it easy. No one's died yet. Let's see the units lost tab. It's just 2 probes that just got killed by the Phoenixes and 1 probe from Nano that got killed earlier from scouting. Oh, what?
Observer got killed by the Phoenixes.
Ah, Observer. I was wondering.
It was sitting next to Nano's Observer and Mothership Core. Of course, it's a very dangerous spot to be in if you're in your opponent's base next to another Observer. Then you may not last very long.
Here we go. What we see another hallucinated Oracle. Oh, but actually might get intercepted by some Phoenixes. Will it though? No, Phoenixes.
They're just flying by.
Flying along. Phoenixes could take some another probes down to their graves. Here they are, cannon there.
Yes. Ooh, will he get to Mothership Core? That would be big. And he does get it.
Yeah,
nice.
With lots of energy on there as well. So it costs him like half of hit points on one of his Phoenixes, but it gives him a Mothership Core. This might actually be lots of Phoenix damage going down now. So that's
he's getting he did get 3 probes and he didn't lose the Phoenix, so it will regenerate all its shields. It will be okay. The Phoenix only has 60 shields. And the hit point bar is 120, so 60 shield Phoenix without any health is still quite flimsy. But I think it was a good trade to pick up a few probes as well. It
lives to lift another day.
Exactly. If we look at the supplies, it's currently 47 worker supply for Rbvh.
47
worker supply.
Well, I'm looking at 45. 45. This is very odd.
Are you looking at the blue one? That's
yeah, I do. And now it's 47, but it used to be 45. Maybe we're not in sync. I don't know.
That would be very strange.
That would be very strange.
In any case, the work supply is what I was going to say. It's rather even. Army supply now as well, because the Phoenixes just flew in, and I'm not sure what they were trying to do to get some sentries, but they didn't really get that much. So
lots of gateways for Rbvh coming in. Do you think he's going to be? He's got the Templar Archives as well. Is this going to be another Templar Archon? Zealot Archon push? I think it might be because of Zealot speed once again.
Zealot Charges is finishing up. He's getting Templar Archives. He's not getting the double forge that he got last time. He's just getting 1.
Yeah, and we now see lots of Templar being warped in, and also the purpose of that 1 probe that he sent at very early game. He had now thrown down a pylon, so this is going to be a closer spawn or warp in position for all these Zealots that I imagine Rbvh will be making to complement these 2 Archons that are already warping in now. What do you call it if an Archon warps in? Morphs?
Morph, I think, yeah.
Morph to Archon.
I think that's also if you select the Templar, the name of the ability.
Right, okay. Hallucinated Phoenix from Nano now trying to scout. That's a bit of a change up.
He lost all his real Phoenixes, so
he's forced to be hallucinating them.
Oh no, I see. He still has one somewhere.
1 Stalker less. All right, attack is coming. Supplies are very even. Let's see what happens this game. Yep, more Zealots being warped in frontal positions there. And of course, there is already an Observer in position here for Rbvh. Observer can fly ahead and scout a little bit. This is actually a very tough position to defend, I think, because these gateways are in the way of the defender.
Yeah, I can almost get these gateways for free because it's very dangerous to go out and defend them, and that's a lot of production that you lose. I think there's only 6 gateways for Nano, so if you would lose 2 or 3 of these gateways, then it really stifles his production.
Yeah. This is I wonder what's going on here. I mean, what's going to happen? Is it? By the way, did he close off his ramp? Is that it? Is that the reason why? Let me check the other side. I'm not sure. No. Okay. So this is these destructible rocks here at the side of the natural of Nano. That's something that might come into play if Rbvh decides to destroy those, because that'll give him another entry into Nano's base. Although, yeah, like you said, attacking on this angle is already very favorable because it's very hard for Nano to rush up and defend it.
Yeah, but we see Rbvh just taking an expansion and falling back, so he decided that it's not worth going all in. He poked a little bit at the gateway, then returned, and we also see Nano getting his own Nexus down now, and both players are transitioning into Colossus tech, with Nano getting a Warp Prism as well.
We might see some Colossi being dropped.
Or more likely just some Zealots being warped in.
Oh, it's merge, it's not morph. So
it's merge.
Yeah. So.
That's also what they say in the end. They say the merger is complete.
Ah, good call. What other things do they say? Do they still say power overwhelming? Not sure.
Maybe if you click on it often, but I don't recall hearing it with the regular speech. But there's a Warp Prism currently coming into the main of Rbvh, and we're getting 3 Zealots warped in.
And they're attacking a pylon.
Not terribly exciting, but
there we go.
They're now running into the mineral line, going after a cannon. But there's some defensive zealots being warped in, and they will clean it up. But of course, the Warp Prism is still there, and that needs to be taken care of. But there's some units coming back now.
This is mainly for distraction purposes. These couple of zealots are not going to do a lot. They took out a cannon, but that's exactly what the cannon was there for, to just distract incoming zealots like this. So not a lot of damage being done here, but of course Nano hopes to distract his opponent, maybe harm his macro a little bit, make sure that his army doesn't grow as fast as it could. And of course we do see, if we look at the units tab, it is... where is the Colossi on the units tab?
It's there for Rbvh, between the Archons and the Stalkers.
There we go. There's one Colossus in the field right now, and of course Nano should also be working on Colossi. Let's see if
he's actually working on double Colossus, so he's going to catch up if he's given the time. But there's a push coming in right now, so I'm not sure. He will have 2 Colossus out very shortly. Okay,
Thermal Lance has not finished yet for this one Colossus, so right now it's pretty vulnerable. And the Zealot Mute Shield. Look at the Zealot Mute Shield. That's a lot of damage.
Oh, Rbvh is pushing through. That's a lot of but now come the Colossus reinforcements for Nano.
But 2 Colossi too late. Also don't have Thermal Lance.
There's no meat shield for them anymore, and there's just a lot of stuff.
That was just a sucker punch right in the face, man. Oh, and the Mothership Core took out a Colossus. Oh man.
Yeah, there was very little subtlety about that. There was just, I have these units, I'll send them forth and crush everything.
Bam! Okay, so this means it's 1-1 now.
Worth noting is that there was also an upgrade advantage for Rbvh in that fight. He had +3 attack against +2 for his opponents. So his units were a bit more effective in that engagement, and that probably contributed to the outcome.
We will be seeing a third and deciding game between these two players. And by the way, I just saw someone following us on Twitch, and his name rang a bell. I think it will ring a bell in your head as well, Renasha. His name is Isnobest.
That does sound vaguely familiar, yes.
Isnobest actually is the winner of the Nijmegen Student Starcraft League, like the precursor of the Dutch Starcraft League. I think that was 2012, yes.
Yes.
June 2012. I can remember sitting in this lecture hall at the university, about 100 people there cheering for the finalists, and one of them was Isnobest. And his fans had made a banner. They put up a banner. And do you remember what it said?
Yes, it said, Isnobest beter than the rest. Which is something that they shouted repeatedly during the finals as well.
Nice. Isnobest beter than the rest. I remember that. There's some children screaming outside my house. I'm gonna close my window for just a sec.
Okay, so in the meantime we're quickly looking at the brackets, we see that all but one of the round of 16 matches has been played. Weimar versus Sutterga is not listed in the brackets as having been played just yet. For the rest, we have Frixie, HexG, Maze, of course Nano and Rbvh, which you're watching right now, Chu and Arnovic in the round of 8, and they're all playing their matches yet. There's no semi-finalist known at the moment, as we are loading into Catalina Ladder Edition for the decider match of this best of 3.
Exciting times, and although I do like a bit of ambient noise, these children have been drowning my thoughts out, so I closed the window, all ready for this final game. Let me set the score right. Nope, that should be like that. Okay, here we go. Going into the game right now, and in the, let's say, 5 o'clock position, playing blue, it is Rbvh. Just made a comeback by killing his opponent in the second game, and good luck to him.
His opponent in the top, the yellow Protoss, is RUZ Nano. He took a lead in the first game, but then let his first chance at victory slip away. Now he's given a second chance to take a spot in the semifinals.
Second match point, and my gut says that these players are not going to be doing anything completely fishy. We've seen pretty worked out kind of standard builds from these players so far, and it feels like, to me, they're comfortable playing this style, and I don't think, if they're wise, they will be deviating from this style.
No, I don't think so either. Neither of the first 2 games were very wacky in that sense, and both got a pretty straight up victory in the game that they won, so I guess both of them are confident that they are able to win a standard game, and that they don't have to rely on doing something crazy to grab the victory.
Mm-hmm. True, so this might once again be kind of a long game, or a longer game. Of course, PvP can be very short if people start doing funky stuff. But I think we very rarely see very late game PvP. And of course, we haven't seen that either in the previous 2 games. A couple of Colossi, but no huge death balls yet.
The very late game PvP can be very interesting, though, especially at the high level, with the massive armies moving around in sort of a chess-style way, trying to position and avoid each other, and in the meantime there's some war prisms flying about, doing some harassment. There's lots of potential for very good games in the end game.
We do see a bit of a change up now, by the way. Nano has thrown down a pylon on the other side of the map, and I really think that he hasn't done that before, so this is going to be something new.
Nope. So I assume we're going to see a Stargate, because from this position it's pretty close to both possible spawn positions.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if Rbvh scouts, which he's going to do, and goes through the base of Nano, he could deduce that there is actually a pylon missing, and from that maybe become a little bit suspicious. So a fun thing to do if you're playing as a Protoss is you just put a pylon randomly on the map and then don't do anything with it, just to freak out your opponent when they do look for these things.
Yep. Rbvh also has to throw down a pylon of his own. There we go, avoiding supply block. He has scouted the 9 o'clock position. Of course, that's not where Nano is. So it'll be a while before he finds out that there is a pylon missing. And like you said, there's a Stargate coming up. And what else is new? Nano has scouted where Rbvh is, so Nano now knows which way to send. I can only assume will be an Oracle. Or do you think he's going to save up Phoenixes? I don't think so, right?
I honestly don't know at this stage what he's going to do. We've seen a lot of Phoenixes before, and all the Oracles so far have been only hallucinated, but I do think that the Oracle is a little bit more likely, just because the Stargate is really far out in the base. It's not something that he intends to keep for later on, while Phoenixes is something that you want to fall back on later as well. In the meantime, we see a Twilight Council very early for Rbvh coming up. So he may go into some Blink play, which could be nice against Stargate.
A Dark Shrine, actually.
Oh.
Okay, so Oracle versus Dark Shrine. The Oracle is going to scout the Dark Shrine before it's going to be any Dark Templar. Oracle's out right now, so this is, I think, very bad news for Rbvh. He will lose some units to this Oracle, and also lose like the hiddenness of his Dark Shrine. So
yeah, I'm surprised that he made the Dark Shrine in his base while he has a pylon already ready in the north side.
You're right.
Yeah,
Here
so
comes the
Oracle's
Oracle.
flying in. It's not seeing the Dark Shrine yet.
3, 4, no.
He did see the Twilight Council, but he already saw it with his scouting probe, so depending on which way he flies out, he may see it or not. But so far he has not seen it. And
Nope.
But on the other hand, there is a robotics facility coming up for Nano. It's just finished, so if he makes an observer and keeps it in his base, he should be fine.
Nope, he starts making immortals. Actually, as soon as he's on supply block, he will start making immortals. So he has not scouted the Dark Shrine and is not preparing for it either. But I'm not sure if Rbvh actually is still confident that his Dark Shrine has gone unscouted. Because although Nano didn't scout it, I think Rbvh might be suspecting that it was in fact scouted.
He warps in a single Dark Templar at the moment.
Okay.
So he's going to at least try and see what he can get done. But right now, if he goes in with his Dark Templar, he can do a lot of damage because there's nothing there to detect. The Oracle is far away, doesn't have the energy, and there's no observer in production.
Well, there will be soon. As soon as this Immortal finishes. Is this actually a block? No, the Dark Templar can fit right through, and I love that Rbvh made only one Dark Templar, seeing as how it was a risk whether it was scouted or not. And there we go, there's going to be some probes dying. That's 1, 2, just 2?
Lots of mining time lost, though. 3. In
That
the
is
meantime, the Oracle for...
Oh, there's the observer.
So that was not that worthwhile. But the Oracle for Nano was killed in the mineral line of Rbvh. It tried to do a little bit more damage, but there was 2 Stalkers and a Sentry there to greet that Oracle.
Okay. So Nano is a bit ahead in army supply, but a bit behind in workers, and it's the other way around for Rbvh.
And of course, Rbvh has his Nexus almost finished, while Nano is just starting. So I think we're just going to transition into a more standard game after both players played their opening hands. Neither got a really huge advantage. Now they're going to round 2.
Okay. I love how Nano knew so quickly that this was an hallucinated Oracle. He didn't follow it with all of his units. Apparently he knew right away that's an hallucination. Good call. Oh, another DT being warped in, by the way.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if you're diligent as Nano, you do have an observer at the front, or maybe something to detect. But if you're like me, you might not have it, so you can check it out.
You kill the first Dark Templar, you think, that threat has been eliminated, and then you send your observer to scout your opponent's base.
Well, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I can imagine me doing that, making such a mistake. But of course, Nano does not make that mistake. He has an observer right at the front, lots of units underneath it, so this Dark Templar has no chance of making it up there, unless, of course, there's some kind of a warp prison.
He's just gonna park it there, I guess. Maybe wait, just leave it there and wait for later points if Nano's moving out, then send in the Dark Templar while the front door is open, so to say. Who knows? Who knows?
It's always good to distract your opponent. If you've got something set up which you can activate, basically, with a single click, it's always good to have something like that to distract your opponent at times of stress.
Yep. In the meantime, we see Nano going for Colossus Tech with the Robotics Bay around 3/4 done at the moment. And Rbvh is again going for Zealot Archon. The Twilight, the Templar Archives is halfway done. Zealot Charge is also well underway. And there's 4 additional gateways about to pop up. And of course, if he runs higher minerals, you can always use Dark Templars to make Archons.
Yep.
As well.
Cool. Archons mate with the Dark Templar. Oh, actually, yeah. Okay, so that's a fun thing. Why did he make the Templar Archives? Of course, they're more gas intensive, the High Templar Archons, than the Dark Templar are. But do you think that was worth building the Templar Archives if you could have already made the Archons?
Well, if you're making Zealot Archon, then you're making, of course, more than one Zealot, ideally. And then you're basically dumping all your minerals into Zealots. High Templars, they are 150 gas, 50 minerals, so you don't need that many to make Archons with that. While Dark Templars, they are quite expensive on the minerals, 125 against 125 gas.
Yeah, okay, so that's definitely a good point. A reason to build a Templar Archives, even though he already had access to the Archon tech.
Yes.
Okay. We see that, actually there's a third base for Rbvh coming down. So this is definitely a change. I was going to say change up, but it's not, right? No. They've gone for third bases before. before pushes or anything.
There's a warp prism for Rbvh flying just around the back of the natural. Let's see where it's actually heading to. Notice that the left extractor or assimilator is called for Nano has 4 probes in it in the natural. That's a little bit of an oversight, I guess, but it's not really that dramatic.
Okay, this warp prism is in a very good position to do some harass. It could have picked up the Dark Templar, which is now actually scouting the front basically of the natural of Nano. So as soon as Nano moves out, it will be scouted by the DT, which in turn will also be scouted and dealt with, I imagine.
Yep.
Colossus
First Colossus is out.
Yep.
Thermal Lance is around 2/3 of the way done. So he will have that for a future engagement if it gets to that.
Alright, let's take a look at upgrades. Nano is working on his +1 armor now, whereas his opponent Rbvh, oh, I need some units. There we go. Is now nearly finishing +2 armor, +2 attack. Sorry, I need some units to click. There we go.
You can also press G to see the.
Ooh. Yeah, of course. Nice. Good call. Observers. Yeah. All right. Okay. Push out, and of course it had been scouted by the DT. That wasn't it. Oh, and right away we see the warp prism fly into the main. This is very good. Rbvh had that set up as soon as Nano moved out. Zealots in the natural. Let's see what Nano does in response, because this cannon will fall, but lots of reinforcement zealots warped in by Nano.
Yeah, it's going to get cleaned up without any real damage. Just 2 zealots and a cannon dying. Oh no, the second zealot doesn't even die.
Okay.
So now the main push from Nano is coming in, and this is going to deal with. There are 2 Colossi with Thermal Lance, 3 Immortals, bunch of sentries, but their force fields won't do that much because there's 6 Archons for the blue Protoss. The 3rd Colossus joins the fun.
Alright, but why is he gathering? Okay, so this Oracle gonna scout the position. That's very important because he can now set up a concave down at the bottom of the ramp. He's trying to, but now both players now descending into a lower area in the map right in front of the natural. This is tough. I think the position for Nano is a lot better now, but ooh, how is this gonna play out?
Yeah, Zealots were a bit stuck initially for Rbvh, but they do manage to make their way to the front, and they should make sure to keep them in front of the Archons.
Nice time warp there. Oh, nice time warp. Does a lot of damage, actually. These Colossus are now nearly exposed, and the second time warp goes down. Yes, Colossi falling very rapidly. This is whoa, this is a very disastrous...
Yeah, oh, he clears it up, and Rbvh takes it there. Wow.
Congratulations to Rbvh.